Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my first ever attempt at having a collaboration, having a guest on StreamYard. We're going to see if this thing works. So I've been wanting to do this for a while. I had a number of people I had in mind. Just by happenstance, I ran into one of those collectors this past Sunday at the Delaware show. I have known this guy for 4 or 5 years from this Delaware show, him and his buddy. And as it turns out, they know someone that we all love, Ray from Philly. So I'm going to bring my first ever guest onto YouTube, Holmsey.
Hey,
What's
Neil,
going
how
on?
are you? How
Good,
are you
good.
tonight?
Always a pleasure. Yeah. Happy you were able to join us here. So I know you as Jim, a couple guys from the Philly show, the meet and greet, the last couple that you were at. They've met you. They were impressed. I know you interviewed with Leighton, and you had a big conversation with Dan, amongst others. So I got you here, and we're going to talk some cards. We're going to talk the hobby, show some stuff. How you been?
Great, great. I
Good.
have no complaints. Hello, YouTube community.
So real quick, just to get started, let's see the card that everyone was oohing and ahhing about at the Philly show meet and greet. And
Okay,
maybe the story behind it.
I believe this is the card you're referring to. This is my T206 Eddie Plank. In the complete, PSA, early PSA authentic holder, and that's because it was a scrapbook card. So
That's a well-loved back.
yes.
Yeah. That's a great card, Jim. As you know, Holmesy, I'm going to call you.
Okay.
But what's even cooler than that card is the story, how you found it.
So going back to 2005, I participated in a local auction company in Philadelphia, and every 6 months or so throughout the year, they would have what they call an estate sale. And that was basically things that just came from various homes that they just wanted to blow out and yada, yada, yada. And there was a box lot, like a file box, and there was all kinds of things from the turn of the century all the way forward to the 60s, of ephemera and things of that nature. There were playing cards, there were magazines, photos, this, that, and the other. And then as I'm going, and the only way to know what was in the box is you had to be there to preview it. All right.
Sure.
So they described it in their catalog, which was basically just stapled paperwork together. That was their idea of a catalog for that one. So, of course, in Philly, I live local. I went and looked at it and thought, hey, this is interesting. But as I got halfway through the box, I noticed, wait a minute, what's this? And I looked at it, I knew right away. I thought,
Yeah.
this card has no earthly business being in this box. And yet I thought to myself, there was everything in it that would match that time period.
Yeah. Sure.
But of all cards, I mean, and there was another card in there that was a common 52 Bowman.
Wow.
And I don't remember who the player was, but long story short, I put everything back on top of the card, and I thought, boy, if I win this lot, this is going to, not only make my day, but make my entire collecting career, because I knew what this was. And lo and behold, at I think it was $287. I know it was somewhere around there with hammer price and tax, but I mean, there it was. I was the winner, the proud owner, and it was raw. So fast forward, I won the lot, got excited, wound up taking the card to the card show in Philly years ago. And someone, I think, I forget his name now, but Dave Zuba walked me around the show in hopes to get a 1, but they told him it was too much paper loss, so they accepted. I accepted. I said I knew the card was real.
Sure.
You do the sniff test and that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah.
But for $287, Neil, I didn't care, what condition it was. So, and here it is. It's been in my collection ever since.
Yeah, and it's hard to see it on camera, but a number of us have seen that card, that example of that you own in person, and just a great front, great image. I mean, it's a T206 plank.
Yeah.
That's
very iconic. I mean, I used to see that card in magazines, and
Oh yeah,
along with the Wagner, the
yeah,
Maggie.
yep.
So
No,
that's
that's a
why I
great
said,
story. I never get tired of hearing about it. And yeah, I'm sure some people are going to want to see it at the September show. So maybe you can
sure,
bring it. But
absolutely, I'd be honored.
so going back, I know you're a collector. I mean, I've seen you at the Delaware shows. I know what you look for. It's kind of, and I think that's why we kind of got along, because you like some of the interesting pieces, and not you like mainstream, but also some of the more off the wall kind of stuff and just cool stuff. What sparked your interest in collecting? Have you been collecting since you were a kid, or?
Yeah. So going back to 1979, and shout out to my brother, we're twins. He and I started collecting when we were the ripe age of 10. And I think what happened, if I remember correctly, it was the passing of our beloved Thurman Munson. And, you know, I think it was a challenge of my dad to say, here's a couple of bucks each, go to the local five and dime, which we had one down the street,
Yeah,
buy a couple of packs and see if you can get Thurman Munson's card. It'd be a fun little chase. And we're like, okay, I mean, so, and that's how it all started. The chase for the Munson. And I think my brother wound up finding one after a handful of packs ripped. But that's where it all started. 1979, 10 years old, and through everything in, high school and marriage, never turned our back on the hobby. I've been a passionate collector ever since. Going strong, picking up the pace a little bit. I have all my low hanging fruit from the 80s and all that kind of thing.
sure.
But as a YouTube, I guess they still call them lurkers. As a YouTube watcher, I watch an awful lot of content. And
Okay,
so, fast forward, I'm 57 now.
you look
So for
great.
collecting, thank you. Thank you. I feel like I'm 40.
There you go.
um, I combine my passionate collecting to like, the Manginis, you, Neil, Aaron. I mean, it's like a little something of everything. I dip my feet in the water with some ultra modern. Um, and so, just to stay a part of the industry, I'm a collector. Um, and I used to study the auction catalogs.
Sure.
Anything pre YouTube, I would watch. I would get these catalogs sent to me. And obviously the card shows
Yeah.
were a source of information for me, and like a lot of it I retained. So
Yeah.
here we are today.
Well, I think Jim, because we're of similar ages,
Right.
and I've said this before on my channel. Talking to people around our same age. I mean, it was so different prior to YouTube, prior to the internet, prior to eBay. It was really card shows. It was flea markets, that
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, I remember. Well, hell, back in the late '70s, early '80s, it was. I don't even think they had monthly price guides. They had the annual Beckett's, and then
Exactly.
CPU came out, tough stuff,
Yep.
and all that stuff. But it was fun. It was. I think that's why we retained a lot of information, is because we kind of had to. It was not at our fingertips, and so
Well, exactly, Neil. It was like, I don't think the Beckett monthly came out till like what, 81 or something like that, but or maybe it was 79. But the annuals, um, there was a baseball card magazine. It would show you different pictures. There were these magazines that had little like Broder type insert cards.
yeah,
You'd see the posters.
yeah,
So it was the big boom of the 80s that really got my thrust for the education and
sure,
the knowledge,
yeah. That's
and then
really the start of the hobby. Right, that rookie card craze and
yes,
all that
yes,
stuff. Yep,
yes.
good times.
Um, yeah, it was like innocent. It was fun. I mean, it was pre-grading. I mean, imagine what life was like again if there were no grading. I mean, we'd go back to a raw industry, and
Yeah, yeah.
you and I lived through that. So it's
Oh,
a
absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
it's an interesting thing.
I still think of some of the grades that these monthlies would assign. There was never anything mint. It was always near mint,
Right,
X,
right.
BG, and good, you know, and
Right. Right.
pluses or minuses in between, you know. So, and it's just
Yeah.
you know, nowadays. Now, do you prefer grading overall, or one or the other, or do you just kind of like it
I
all?
I do like my cards and slabs. I like,
Yeah.
almost everything. I've got signed letters, photos, large cards. And I do like them slab, but I do have some, one of which I'll show you in a minute. I refuse to encapsulate because some people ask me, well, through all the years of collecting, what's your favorite card? And it's easy for me to pull that one out of my head because it was a card that was given to me as a gift when I was a kid. Now,
Okay.
everybody remembers Pete Rose's run to Top Tie Cobb in the
Oh yeah.
80s. And so he became my favorite, and he spent many a years in Philly here. Um, so in chasing all the rose cards on my paper route income,
Yeah.
uh, I basically saved up enough money to get the 64, but anything, like the 63, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And my parents recognized that and said, "Well, he's got the run, so why don't we, get him a nice little Christmas gift?" And mind you, there's four of us in the house that my parents were raising, so it basically this is my favorite
Awesome.
card in my collection. Now everybody's seen a Pete Rose rookie card, but this one is extra special. I even kept a price tag on there of that I thought it was worth, and this is a price tag from the '80s. I just left it on there
Sure.
for conversation's sake. But, it's a nice little
Well, so
if
yeah.
it so it that's my favorite card. I mean, I've got some cards that are worth some money. I've got some cards that nobody cares about that I like. We talked about like collect what you like. Um, I'm a little something of everything, as
Yeah.
far as that goes. So,
No, and that's perfect. I know you brought some cards to show, you know, from your
mhm.
diverse collection. I've seen a lot of it, just with our conversations and your pickups. But let's see some. Let's see what you're going to entertain the YouTube community with.
So this is another T206 card. Okay, and this is Bradley. Every bit of the common, no big deal. I mean, I love it. It's beautiful, and I can trace its origin of the auction, and then it wound up on eBay. But what's interesting about this card, it's hard to tell. It's got a redback ghost image of Ty Cobb.
Ah,
So the
fantastic.
Red Sea transfers, they call them, or ghost images, which is unusual for this because usually the ghost imaging would be on the front, as
Yeah.
a like a skip feature. Or if you would find it on the back, it would be the ghost image of Bradley himself in a black and white. But this one somehow was a sheet laid on top of the sheet, however they were printed. It's hard to really tell, but
Yeah, well, as you
that's the
move it
ghost image
closer,
on the back. So
you can kind of tell. You can see the red from afar, but when you move it back in, there he is. There's Tyrus Raymond right there.
yeah,
That's
so
fantastic.
that card was originally sold in auction, and of course I was outbid. And then somehow I found it again, that card on eBay. I guess the buyer and won the bid for whatever auction. I think it was Heritage. I don't remember. Um, so decided to flip it, and so I wound up winning it on eBay. It was like $400. So I was like, oh, I have to have that. I like the
Awesome.
anomalies, the oddball stuff.
Yeah.
So
Now, so
um,
oddball. I know some people don't like the term. I love the term.
exactly.
I've grown up with the term oddball. It's endearing. So I guess you feel the
Shout
same.
out to you, Rick. By the way.
Yeah, he's a proponent. His
Um,
counterpart, I don't think
we
is.
could call it unusual,
Yeah.
unique. I mean, I don't know how many of those are out there. I do see transfers in auctions, and I love them, especially the ones that have like multiple. Because of the American Tobacco Company, you could have a sweet Caporal back overlaid with a Piedmont back. It's
Yeah.
really cool to see it, and that's a niche collector likes that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
and I think over the years. I mean, I don't know if you were on Net 54 a lot, but I have been on Net 54 mostly as, or I comment every now and then, but every
yeah,
now
yeah,
and then. But there's a wealth of knowledge. Again, it's prior to the internet, or, I guess prior to YouTube and social media, message boards were kind of a thing. But I think a lot of the stuff you just talked about, that has been growing in popularity over the past 10, 20 years. That the ghost backs and the misprints and
Yeah.
all that stuff. What else you got?
So let's fast forward a little bit because I'll mix it up a little bit. So this
Sure.
is a 1951 Bowman Ted Williams that I actually had signed by Ted somewhere in the 80s when it was only $5 or $6 here in the local Philly area. And I remember Ted Williams himself saying, "Are you sure you want me to sign that? It'll ruin the card." I said, "That's all I have, Mr. Williams." And, I picked this up with paper route money for like $40 back in the 80s. But, I wound up having it encapsulated. Now, I only did that because I thought the encapsulation was pretty cool. I mean, I knew it was real. I watched him sign it. In fact, I still have the brochure that they would send you in the mail advertising, the longest Philly show in the history. And so, there it is. I mean, I also have my 52 Bowman Mickey Mantle signed by it. But so that's one of my favorites in the collection. I also have dipped my feet into the ultra modern, and I thought how much fun this would be to be a participant of this popular guy.
Oh wow, yeah.
Um,
I can't blame you on that. I mean,
and this
yeah.
came from the LCS, my local card store, and I figured, it was expensive, but and it's a Leaf product, but Shohei is, it's an on sticker
Yeah.
auto, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But as Pepino Man would say, so shiny. Anyhow.
Well, listen, you can't go wrong, in my opinion, with Ohtani. And I think I know there's a lot of people, a lot of collectors. And again, you collect what you like, right?
Right.
Yeah. Everyone has been saying that for years. And it is the truth. But, collecting, it doesn't have to be just pre-war or just golden era or a mix of both. I think, because I do have some modern stuff in my collection, but this is going to be all your highlights tonight and introducing you. So, I mean, Shohei is a I think it's a no-brainer. He's going down as one of the all-time greats. I really think.
Someone told me that he's a pretty good baseball player.
Yeah, he's not bad. I don't know if he's I think we're going to probably start seeing more his pitching, hopefully, because I think he's a great pitcher. But
yeah, it's like a phenomenon we haven't seen in forever, at least in my lifetime.
Ever.
Where the pitching matches the quality of the batting. I just, I said, I have to have some of his things. And it's also interesting too, Neil. I'll collect what I don't know what something is. Like a French Bauer milk coin. I'd love to get the Pete Rose, but like,
Have you ever seen it? I've never seen it.
I've seen a couple of them actually at shows, but at once I thought it was a $500 disc. Everybody's asking $3,000 for theirs, and I'm like, gee, I don't have that kind of budget, but I'd love to have it, and it's so unusual.
Yeah.
So I have things in my collection. I don't exactly know the history. Like a Bagour chocolate.
Yeah.
Mangini would. I mean, I think I learned that through watching his channel as far as that goes. But it's just whatever you like is what you like. And, that's the kind of thing I like. The unknown, getting the education. Sports Collectors Digest have taught me a lot of things.
Sure.
So, I read an article about Pat Venditti, if I pronounce his name correctly, the ambidextrous pitcher. Pitched both left and right.
Oh, yeah.
And so I read that article. So, of course, what did I do? I went right on eBay and bought a lot of his autos, his on-card auto cards, just to say, hey, this is a fascinating story. And that goes with anybody with a backstory. I mean, the Merkel boner and all that from, all that stuff is just like baseball history. And, I don't even watch sports that often, but I get my history through, the internet, YouTube, of course, books, that sort of thing. And so, if I'm fascinated by something, I have to try to own it, own a piece of it anyhow.
And then these rabbit holes are created. You had mentioned Mangini and earlier, Value Vintage Aaron, who, I'll see some of their content. before I even started a channel, that those are the guys, those were the two channels I was kind of watching, and just some of the stuff they would show. It's just like,
Yeah. Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
sometimes I knew what it was and kind of forgot over the years.
Yeah.
Sometimes I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I had to find out, and that's, I
Well,
think, the whole, for me, a lot of the fun. How do you feel about that?
exactly. I mean, that's what, again, I'm a lurker. I watch almost every channel I possibly can in the time that I have. And, um, I like the tight knit community. Um, but, some of my most featured education came from you guys. Neil, you taught me a few things. You showed me a few things. And I'm like, hey, I don't know what this is, but I like it. Um, and so it just fuels the passion. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of people are like, you have enough stuff now. Do you ever consider selling? Well, not really. I mean, yeah, in the future, I'm a UPS employee, career employee. I am at retirement age, but I'm still there and I'm going to stay, as long as I allow myself to. But, I have my card collecting as a hobby. It's a hobby to me, but I know it's also an investment. So it's something that's mindful. But the first and foremost, it's a hobby to me. It's
yeah,
something I've been doing for 45 plus years. So
yeah. Well, no, I listen. I hear you, and I think I remember that kind of being a topic at times heated.
yeah,
Investor. Do you look at it as investing or collecting, or hey, I'm a true collector, I'm a purist, all this stuff. In my opinion, I think it the smart thing to do. We're spending money on cardboard, so you want
right,
to be
right.
educated about it. You want to make good financial decisions. And it's just the way it is. I mean, now more than ever, we've been collecting. Sounds like we've seen a lot of the stuff since the early '80s, late '70s, early '80s, and I've never seen a boom like this. So, are
Right.
you finding it kind of challenging right now, or how are you
Yes.
managing that?
Well, I know things are much more expensive than they used to be, but I'm very proud to say I love being in this boom
Yeah,
because we were in the 80s boom.
yeah,
But that's nothing. I mean, like I say, there wasn't grading back then. So, you know, it's like we have the internet at our fingertips. I'll watch something on YouTube or on TV or in a magazine. Boom, I get right on my smartphone, which we didn't have in the 80s. So we have access to everything, Now, whether it's available, that's a whole different story.
yeah,
But um, I just love being a part of the collecting community, and um, it's a high passion for me. And so,
yeah.
yeah,
Good.
I
Okay.
mean, it's out there. It's out there, and it's fun to discover, the newly discovered things or the recent additions, So, I mean, that always
Oh, sure.
fascinates me, and that just gives me to a new level of passion for it, a new level of, hey, I can do this, I can find that. A lot of people used to say to me, Neil, oh, everything like that, that's already been found. And I thought to myself, no, there's things out there that are, you
Yeah.
turn a rock over and you'll find a gem.
Well,
So
you
it
just
doesn't
showed
have
us.
to be
Yeah.
at flea markets. You can catch that stuff at a card show, So
Yeah, no, you listen, you never know. I mean, you just showed us the first card, you know,
yeah,
in a
yeah.
pile of ephemera, Yeah, so
Well, and that's also with Freeman's auction in Philly. They know their antiques. You'll see them featured on Antiques Roadshow for
oh
those
yeah,
of you
yeah,
who watch.
great show.
But they didn't have a sport department. They didn't know much about their sport, so it was just like, here's
Yes.
the box lot,
Yeah,
take as you will.
yeah. So what
So,
I know we talked about and you showed some other what else are you gonna show us?
well, here's the thing. I'll rapid fire this because this is
Yeah,
like a
go
6 or 7 card lot. So here's the final of Phil Rizzuto's 52 tops.
Great
Okay,
cards.
this one, of course, is the black bag. Yeah, I love it. I love the
Yeah,
52 top set.
classic.
Years ago in 1989, Topps decided that they were going to sell a lot of products in their warehouse just to empty some space for themselves. So Guernsey's in New York had an auction in 1989,
Yep.
And they wound up selling a lot of one of a kind, mostly one of a kind, to be honest with you. And then it got filtered through, as the internet came along later in time, a lot of things got resold in the on the
Sure.
internet. And so, although I did find this in an auction, here's the progressive proof of Phil. So,
Sweet.
you know, and it and these are blank back, obviously. These were progressive proofs. This is how
Yeah.
they got to the final. So, and
Yeah, that's
this
that's
is one of my favorites. And these are original. These are first printed
yeah.
from 1952. So, you know,
Oh, that's awesome. Now,
so
did
yeah,
you
I
get
mean
all of
that was a
those?
lot of fun. And I was
Were all
again,
of
I don't
those?
think there's another one. I'm sorry.
I'm so yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off, but were all of those in the same lot, or did you have to find each one of those individually?
No, that was basically Guernsey's originally sold it in their lot as a sheet,
Okay.
but it was a sheet of the first 11. So rather than have the yellow first 11 sold in an auction later, they figured somebody will cut it up professionally, have it laser cut. They all get authentic because, they were hand
Sure.
cut from the sheet. Let's put all the Rizzutos together. And there was the Andy Pafko. That's probably the most valuable one
Yeah.
as far as that goes, out of that sheet anyway. And then, of course, you have the Hall of Famers. But yes, that was all in one lot, the entire Rizzuto run. And then I bought the final, at a card show just to be able to show what the final front and back would
Yeah.
look like with all the
It's
colors. So,
cherry on the top of that. I mean, if
yeah,
you had
yeah.
all of those proofs, I mean, it makes sense to get the
But it's
final.
not, and it's exciting because you're not going to find another set of those. I mean, of that particular card, you'll see progressive proofs out there. I think I have the Hank Bauer or Hank Sauer, I think, but I can't remember
One of
which
them.
one it was. But um, and then I have a handful of 72 tops. I mean, you'll find them on the internet, but
Sure.
it's like uh, it's a one of a kind, and like I say, the proud owner. Until someday, if I decide to sell, let it go to another happy home, as far as
Oh
that
yeah.
goes.
No, I hear you. Yeah. Let's keep it coming. We've got some.
So here's one that nobody's familiar with. So, and that's this little monster right here. That's my
I've never
52
seen
tops
that card.
mantle.
Oh man,
Um, and
that is my personal grail right there.
yeah,
If I
yeah.
got that card, Jim, I think I would quit. I'd be done. That's like to me.
Yeah, I'd said the same thing. And, luck have it. Back in 2018, I picked that in the REA auction. And, you know, I inherited a little bit of money from my parents. And long story short, I said, I'm going to do this because if I don't do it now, I'm never going to be able to do it. I couldn't afford to do this again today. I mean, that was a one and done.
Well,
So
nowadays it's a tough card.
it's a card that we all grew up on. Everybody said, the Hannes Wagner. I called him Honus, but the Wagner.
So did I.
Okay, that was out of our range from the word go, and the 52 mantle was out of my range growing up until we become adults and we save a few bucks.
Yeah.
And I know Pepino Man is after one, so
Yeah.
I wish him all the best, and I know that he'll get his as far as that goes. But it is like one of those things where like it is one of the Grail, you know, Mount Everest cards for me. I mean, and it is what it is. In the same auction, Neil, I picked up this card, which was also something that I grew up knowing about. And that's the T206 Sherry Maggie. I always pronounced them growing up McGee. So this is the error. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's the error. It's backwards, but the correction is a good $150 card. The error, I don't know what that's worth, but I'm the proud owner of that as well. So it's been a
Sure.
lot of fun. That was out of one auction. So then most recently at my LCS, I picked up a scrapbook of Phillies from the Whiz Kids era. And in it was it's 1949, which I thought in the scrapbook was a seal test because of the same image.
But it's
But this
Loomis?
turns out, yeah, it's Loomis, and I gently removed it.
Wow.
This one was apparently redeemed and then sent back. Now, of course, you can see it's got
Yeah,
to wear and all that kind of thing. But
that's
guess
perfect.
what? I took a picture of the scrapbook, as its originality. So this is the first time this card ever was separated, probably from, let's say, 1950, for whatever that's worth. And so, now you would question, do I get all my stuff encapsulated? I'd like to have that encapsulated.
Sure.
So, just to protect, right now it's in a top loader, but I'm happy with that for now. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I think the grading companies obviously they're here. Um, PSA obviously we're not gonna don't submit it to them right now
right,
because
right, right.
probably
Yeah. And
18.
like I thought, it was kind of funny because while they're on a freeze of their lower tiers, I mean, people are just going to stockpile their cards. So when they open their gates again, I mean, it's going to be like a constant repeat of backlog, or backstock or whatever they call it. So,
Well, hopefully, and who knows? I mean, hopefully PSA kind of regroups and reflects on some of the decisions they've made, since Nat Turner took over. And I'm not going to go really off that, but hopefully they realize they have a couple of different PSA centers to start redirecting certain cards to, and hopefully they address the whole SGC tux and make that into the product, and they own the brand. I'm a tux guy, so
me too. Me
yeah,
too. And a lot of what you saw was,
yep,
um, my SGC stuff. When I started grading, the company Global, which was a Mike Baker company, GAI,
yeah,
they had a draw in, which was a $5, almost like a raw card review type thing. For $5, you could have your card reviewed,
yeah,
and they would write on Sharpie on a top load sleeve the grade that they're going to assign it if you decide you want to encapsulate it.
yeah,
And I thought, wow, what a wonderful idea. For an
yeah.
additional like 10 or $15, I thought, boom. So I have some of my earlier grading was a lot of Global stuff. Um, Global was the only company back in the early 2000s that would grade unopened wax. So I
Yeah.
have all my 86 Fleer wax unopened that are in Global holders. But
Have you ever thought about busting one of those packs open?
I, the temptation is there, but then I thought to myself, look, I'm a gambler, but I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I'd rather just go down to the local store and grab a scratch off and hope that I win something. But
So I've never had uh, a graded pack. I got
okay,
some Star Wars, but that's
right,
different, just because they have different covers, right? Or different
okay.
wrappers, I should say. But if I ever had an unopened pack, even if it was slab, I'd be looking at it and thinking about it. I want to open this thing up. That's just how that's just how I would be.
Well, I totally gather because Neil, I have OCD, and every once in a while I'll look at. Basically, I have 16 packs. I bought what was left on the thrift drug shelf um, for 30 cents a pack. I just took the whole box, the rest of the box, and then
Yeah.
later, had them encapsulated. Um, and there are some Jordan stickers showing. I have 2 packs with Jordan stickers showing. So if I were going to open something, it probably wouldn't be those packs.
I
Um,
don't blame you.
but yes, the curiosity, the temptation, it always haunts me because I'm thinking, gee, what if I just opened one? You know, and I just never could bring myself to do it. I mean, if I
Yeah.
open one, it's like anything, you have to keep you have to keep
Oh,
going,
I hear you. So, what
So,
else? Let's. I know you showed
so
some other stuff here, so let's keep it going.
I'm also a memorabilia collector, but I don't know if this falls into a card. And
I remember that card.
yeah, I was going to say, does this look familiar
It
to you?
does. It does.
So it's this kind of thing, though. And, I've always been a Jackie collector, but there's certain things that,
Yeah.
today I can't afford right now. But, um, I have his uh, 49 Bowman. I have one for my run, my Jackie run, and then I have one in my 49 Bowman set. So,
Okay.
but I don't have the 49 leaf. Let's call it 49 leaf, I guess, for the sake
All right.
of.
So that's a question. I mean, I still find it acceptable to call it 48. I
Right.
still call it 48. I can't help it. But
Um,
I do know it's
because
48.
well, and everybody that encapsulates it, will, I mean, when you get it graded, I think they still use 48,
Still called
or they'll say
48.
48, 49. Uh, Getting back to the grading companies, I don't know. This is everybody's biggest pet peeve. But if you look at this flip, it's backwards.
Yeah.
But if you look at the flip, um, it says rookie.
Yep.
That's the only flaw about this particular card in an SGC. Uh, Call it first tops card, but whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so the only card, getting back to the original topic of Jackie, is I don't have the 48, 49 leaf, and I don't have the Bond breads. I almost picked one up at the last show. That was the facsimile auto one, which was a portrait. It
Yeah.
was a part of his 10 card set or
That's
13
the
card set.
most desired one. I think some of the, and it's a great image.
Yeah.
I like the awaiting pitch is I think is my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't own any of them, nor have I, but I would like to. That's kind of on a.
That's going to be one of my bucket lists. And I have a list. A lot of times I go to these card shows, and a lot of the vendors who've known me throughout, growing up, well, what are you after today? Or, what are you collecting today? I said, today I'm freestyling. Today I'm just buying what I like and what I see. And so.
Now, when you go into a Philly show, which is going to be coming up sooner than we think, in September. I know I'll run into you there. Are you going to go in with a plan or a certain card you do want to buy? I know you talked about it before, but are you still sticking with a certain card or just kind of freestyling like you just said?
Well, what I'm doing now is I'm trying to complete, and I just won 3 of them. I'm going to pick them up in Exton on Friday. A 3-card lot of the N28 Allen and Ginter baseball.
Oh, nice.
So with that finishing, it's like I say, it's a 10-card set for the baseball. And yes, I have the Annie Oakley, just to say I have an Annie Oakley. But I'll need 3 after that. I think I need the Timothy Keefe, and I can't remember the other 2. I have the list. But that'll be a goal for me, and they're expensive cards. The Mulvey, the Bennett, they're $500 mediocre, accessible type thing. You see them from time to time. But I would love to put that, on my list of completion, hopefully by the end of, say, 2027, to complete that full 10-card run. I have the Anson, the Comiskey. The other thing is anything that really catches my eye that's unusual, odd. I may stumble upon something that, like, I don't even know what it is, but if it's calling me, I mean, I have a Marilyn Monroe, call it rookie card from 1952 MGM Studios. It's a European card, but I saw that at the show. I wasn't looking for one, but the guy had a display case and it was sitting on the top inside. And I thought, what is this? And how much? I like it, so now I'm the proud owner of that. So
sometimes that happens.
Yeah. I'm oops, pivot. The other thing, Neil, is, I want to complete the 4-card T206 Ty Cobb run. Right now I have the red background and the bat on shoulder. I had a bat on shoulder in the 80s when I was a kid and sold it for a nickel on the dollar of what it's worth today, obviously with the 80s being the 80s. And I regretted it ever since, so I just wanted to recap that, and I wound up buying one of those.
Now,
shout out to Stan Locke.
Stan is he's one of the good ones. He has chances are he's going to have what you're looking for the most part. Now, of those Cobbs, I only have one Cobb. I got a T2. I got the red, and I like the red.
Okay.
I think, what is your favorite of those 4? Each one is a great one.
The 4,
they're all considered equal value. Which one do you pick?
As for aesthetics, for me, the red background Cobb. I mean, it's bar none other. It just pops. I mean, you have an image in front of a red background, and it's almost 3-dimensional kind of.
It is.
But my overall favorite T206 Cobb is the bat on shoulder, and that's because it was the first and only one I've had, when I was a teenager, and I thought, gee, I mean, Cobb is Cobb. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
when
there's
you
no wrong
mention
answer.
the history of baseball, he's the one that, besides Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle, he's the one that
Yeah.
shows up in a lot of conversations. So, again, putting
Well,
my feet in the water, I wanted to be a part of that.
yeah, I mean, and
Again,
Cobb. Listen, I think at the end of the day, I mean, again, everyone's going to have their own opinion, but at the end of the day, there's going to be about 10 to 20 players, we just talked about one of them, and Otani I think is going to be another one, and a lot of guys in between. But there's about 10 to 20 that just transcend everything, and Cobb is certainly one of them. So
well, and like I said to a lot of my friends, I can go to a casino with $1,000 or $500, and in 10 minutes, with my luck, it's gone. And I walk out and I'm like, well, I did it. I've been there. I've done that, that kind of thing. But with card collecting, if I take an Otani and the value goes down, no harm, no foul. I still have something to show for the purchase. Remember when. So it's like, uh, every time I look at the card, it reminds me of how exciting it is to see his career and how he trajects into his future,
yeah,
with whatever team he may be on. It's really exciting, to be honest with you. So,
well, that's some good stuff. I know we were talking about just kind of keeping this to about 45 minutes. You got things to do, so do I. Plus, I don't want you to show all of your stuff, but maybe like two or more, three more things.
I have,
You're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, right?
yeah, I'd like to. I
Yeah.
just have to do it. It's just like they say, well, why don't you
It's a
just
lot of
do it? I
fun.
said, well, that's like telling a 9-year-old to get behind the car and start driving.
Yeah, right.
I'm old. I don't know what I'm doing, but uh, I'm going to get there because I want to be a part. I want to be able to comment. I do subscribe now and like all the channels that I have subscribed to, which, believe me, Neil, there's a laundry list of them.
Oh, sure.
Um, and I'm still discovering like what I consider new ones, even if they've been out for years.
Yeah.
I'm like discovering them, and I'm like, oh, I like this. I like this. I'm getting an education. I like their excitement level for what
Oh,
they
yeah.
collect.
Yep.
So the last thing I have that I'll show today, I also dabble in, like I say, memorabilia. I was an autograph collector. Um, my brother and I used to collect autographs all the way through the 90s and through the 2010s. Uh, a lot of it was at Vet Stadium here in Philly. Uh, and it was easy access to the players. So we were autograph passionate. So, but I've always been, passionate about like autographed items. This is
Oh, wow.
a real photo postcard of, again, sorry it's backwards, but, I didn't have a Roger Maris in my collection. So at the last card show in Philly, I picked this up and I thought, okay, now I have a piece of Roger Maris's signature in my collection. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. When you're collecting for 47 years, Neil, you're going to
Yeah.
accumulate, especially with stuff, I don't move anything. Everything coming into the house
Well,
is,
I think that's the
you
key.
know,
And unfortunately, well, or I'll, for me as a collector, which is why you have that Jackie. I mean, I move on from things because some of this stuff strikes my fancy. And I just like the whole idea, you and I, trading and, selling
that's,
some stuff, you finding some stuff, I'm finding you stuff, it's just the whole community. And that's what that's just,
well, I'm excited when people pick things up and I see that on their
yeah,
YouTube channel, their
yeah,
recent acquisitions and stuff. That excites me. And it fuels, of course, like I say, it fuels my addiction. I call it an addiction now. This was once a passion. It's now an addiction.
yeah.
I've got to have more. And, you know, it's about the ownership. It's about the history of that particular player or players or non-sport people.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's good. Well,
yay.
we're going to go real quick. We're going to have just a 10 question, just a little ring of fire, Rob Cash Cards. He did this with me. I thought it was a great idea to end a video. So,
Okay. Let me get ready.
Yeah, just whatever comes to your mind. Favorite Phillies player.
Pete Rose.
Okay. Greatest Philly athlete. Any sport.
Grover Cleveland.
Okay.
Alexander.
Best cheesesteak in the Philadelphia area.
A cheesesteak cart on 17th and Market.
Okay, all right. Hey, listen, some of those carts and some of the delis are fantastic. With or without?
Wait, you're breaking up, Neil. I'm sorry. With or without?
With, okay. With on the cheesesteak, with or without?
Oh, with.
Onions,
Yeah.
like with onions or okay, good,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
whiz with. They used to call
Most, yeah, absolutely. Most underrated baseball card.
it. Frank Robinson, rookie card
That's
per se.
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking too. Um, Philly Show gold card, if you have one.
T206 Greenback Cobb.
Okay. Player runs or team building.
Player runs.
Okay. Biggest hobby pet peeve.
Geez, I'm drawing a blank. So
Yeah,
can we
because
skip to the next one? I'll get back to that one.
yeah, you'll think about that next time. And favorite thing
Yeah.
about the hobby. We'll leave it on a positive note. Favorite thing about the hobby.
Favorite thing about the hobby is everything. And that might sound cheesy, but it's
Yeah.
like vintage, modern, ultra modern, childhood memory, wrap it all into one. That's my favorite thing about the hobby. And of course, most importantly now, the community of
Yeah.
which I'd love to be a part of, and being able to collaborate with all my card collecting friends.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
Well, Holmsey, Jim, you are now part of the community officially because you're on this
Here we
relatively
are.
small channel. So hopefully people get to know you. I know that they will. They're going to see this, and some people are going to recognize, hey, there's that guy from the meet and
Yeah.
greet with Eddie Plank, and here you are. So, hey, man, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you coming on the channel, and I'll talk to you at the next show.
Thanks for having me, Neil. This has been an honor. I'm flattered and can't wait till the next gathering.
Sounds great. Jim,
Thanks
we'll
again.
talk soon, all right?
You
Hey,
bet.
thanks
Thank
for
you.
watching, fellas. Take care.
See you guys.